Joining me now to talk about the leaks and their impact on the campaign from Toronto, Conservative candidate Rick Dykstra and NDP candidate Peggy Nash. And joining me here in Ottawa, Liberal candidate David McGuinty. Thank you all. Quite a day. You kind of don't expect it the day before a debate. Rick, I'm going to start with you.
Sure.
You know, your party was quite active today. We had the leak, and then we had the leak from your party of the updated report. I mean, what's up? Did you guys see this coming quite a while ago?
Well, no. You know, what we certainly understood is that this has been this process has been going on for months and months. We certainly have, and John Baird said today, as the Minister of Transportation, when he was the Minister of Transportation responsible for infrastructure, a very thorough review, a response to anything the Auditor General asked for, we responded to. The way this process works is it starts with initial drafts. It can go through 2, 3, 4, 5 iterations before it becomes a final report. And you know, we heard the Auditor General say today, proceed with caution here, folks. The right thing to do, the proper thing to do, is to let her do her work and let her actually release the final report to Parliament when it is the right time for her to do that. What we saw today was, you know, obviously opposition trying to use a report that is months old to their advantage. And, you know, unfortunately, draft reports are not final reports, and the Canadian public is a lot smarter than that.
But even the interim report that your party released to us this afternoon basically indicated that the Auditor General was not happy with any of the spending in this G8 infrastructure fund, that it wasn't done properly.
Well, what she has clearly said, and I haven't read that report. I'm listening to Bob Fife respond to the copy that he had, and it clearly indicates that we did nothing of the sort of misleading Parliament or anything in terms of how this decision-making process was made. It was made by the folks who are responsible at the ministry. When recommendations come forward, directors make decisions. They're then forwarded to the minister for final approval. That is a process that was followed every way, shape, and form that it should have gone. It went. Now, you know, we can always argue, those in opposition can always argue about where the funds were spent on, but the report clearly indicates that we did not mislead Parliament, and in fact those funds were appropriated in the exact way they should have been.
Your party's been calling for a public inquiry for a while. What is added to your arguments today?
Well, I mean, as you know, we've been raising the improper spending here from the word go. I mean, Bob Fife raised it, the community center that had nothing to do with the G8 meeting, the gazebo 100 kilometers away, the gallons of bug spray, all of these things. There are improprieties that we all know about already. But the issue is now, were there criminal activities in terms of misleading Parliament? And if the Auditor General's report has changed, why has it changed? What has happened? Once again, we would argue that we need a full public inquiry here, that clearly money was shoveled into a cabinet minister's riding, and yet on the other hand we had a situation where a huge section of the city of Toronto was shut down for the G20 meeting, costing businesses millions of dollars in damages and lost business, not to mention the huge civil rights abuses that took place. These store owners, these business owners, have not been compensated. John Baird said that, you know, that Huntsville deserved some investment for the inconvenience of having the G8 talks. Toronto was massively inconvenienced, massive abuse of civil rights, and no compensation. So we know the disrespect that the Conservatives have for Toronto. And the neglect that the city has had under the Conservatives, but it just speaks to the essential.
No, that is completely untrue, Peggy.
A full
Peggy, that is completely untrue.
Of the G20
completely untrue, Peggy.
Talks.
No one has invested more money in the city of Toronto and the GTA than this government over the past 5 years. There's absolutely no. Well, we are going through a process of which we have made a commitment to each of those businesses that have been impacted by it. They will indeed be compensated.
So you could show a little bit of patience.
Compensated? Well, if you'd let me finish, perhaps I could respond to your question, because you're making allegations that really are of theater and on the absurd, Peggy. I mean, we had to put in place a process that was going to see leaders from the top 20 countries come to this city and make sure that we were prepared in the right and in a way that was going to make sure that the meetings were held from a safety perspective and also from a way that was going to show Toronto to the world. We did exactly that. You're making accusations that
largest
really
civilian mass arrests in the history
You're
of our
criticizing the
country.
City of Toronto for absolutely no reason. You want to represent them, you should start sticking up for them in a way that's positive, not negative, because that isn't going to work, Peggy.
We should
I just
have
want
a
to try.
full public
We've
inquiry
been
of those
here.
arrests.
We can hear in your voices how contentious this issue is.